Hey, this is Matt once again. What about to another videos? Another paid request. This time for my good friend Mike, OCP Communications, and this time is for the 1988 film Dead Heat. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics, reactions, whatever, reviews, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, Dead Heat, like I said, came out in 1988. First film directed by Mark Goldblatt. Now, this is a guy that he's edited a lot of familiar action movies. He was a part of Rambo First Blood Part 2, Terminator 2, Predator 2. Directing wise, sadly, I think he only directed 2 films. This one and The Punisher. I don't know if he directed anything after that. I love The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. 1989, love that film, personal favorite of mine. This one, it's not a bad debut. I do like the film, I don't love it though. Of course, sadly, the late, great Treat Williams, who recently passed away. And he's definitely the MVP of the film. He's definitely one of the reasons I can watch and enjoy the film somewhat. He teams it with Joe Piscopo, who was on Saturday Night Live. He would later be in films like Sidekicks with Chuck Norris, where he played the villain. You also have Darren McGavin, Kolchak himself. Always great to see him in there because I'm a huge fan of Kolchak the Night Stalker. You have a very small but nice appearance by Vincent Price, which he wouldn't do too many films after this. I mean, other than Edward Scissorhands. I mean, this is near the end of his career and life. But still nice to see Vincent Price in there. And the plot actually is pretty simple. There's a series of heists. Bad guys stealing jewelry, and the cops get there, but these guys just won't die. To a point that one had a grenade, they had to shoot the grenade off of him. Treat Williams had to literally keep driving back and forth and drive a car into one of these guys. Is it, what is it? Is it PCP? Like, why is it they can't die? They look into the case, and it brings them to this facility where Joe Piscopo finds this monstrosity. He's like a big biker with, looks like he's got 2 faces melded together. They start fighting it. One leads to another. Treat Williams gets locked in this decompression chamber and dies. But come to find out that this machine in this facility can reanimate the dead. And you kind of find out he's got about 10-12 hours left until the body breaks down. And so that was 10-12 hours left to solve his own murder. And that seems like a very fun B-movie premise. You know, you take the buddy cop movie, you meld it with the zombie genre, the horror genre. You know, even Dead Heat, that title fits for that kind of premise. Yeah, Treat Williams, I always thought was a good, talented actor. My favorite of his is Deep Rising from 1998. He's good in the Substitute sequels, which those reviews will be coming soon, thanks to my good friend Efrey. So, I have a DVD set of it somewhere that has those on it, but those will be coming soon. He was the villain in The Phantom. Always great to see him in a movie, and again, sadly passed away because he was on a motorcycle and some jagoff can't drive correctly. So because of that guy's stupidity, hit Treat Williams, and Treat Williams passed away. So that other guy, I hope he gets jail time and never drives again. Or some other shit. Fuck that guy. But anyway, going off tangent. And Joe Piscopo, I don't mind. He's not always given the best lines of dialogue, and I don't know if some of it was improv or what have you. It's not always the funniest lines, but I thought he had the right energy for this kind of role. And yeah, you have the cliches of the buddy cop genre. They have the angry black captain who's point his fingers at them. Of the two, you have Joe Piscopo is a little bit of the Oscar to True Williams' Felix. One's a little bit more prim and proper, the other's a bit more of a slob. But I mean, cliches to be fine because they could be comfort food. You're comfortable with it, and it could be easier to enjoy. I remember when I first saw this because I was shown like the theatrical poster, but the VHS poster did not show this was a horror film. Because you look at the VHS poster, it's literally Tree Williams with a Uzi, Joe Piscopo with like a gun, and then on the bottom it's an ambulance like crashing, which is in the movie. You look at that VHS cover, not this cover, but the VHS cover, nothing about it shows it's a horror film. So I remember renting, oh wow, this is really cool, and it's just got horror elements, and I would say the first half of this film had the potential to make it a classic. Well, that's going a bit too far. Being an entertaining movie in the vein of The Hidden, or in the vein of I Come in Peace. And that's what I wanted out of this. I wanted a kick-ass movie like you think of I Come in Peace. Buddy cop film, drug dealers from outer space. Here it's jewelry robbers from the grave. And Mark Goldblatt has edited films like Rambo for Split Part 2, so he's been around movies that dealt with a lot of action. And he would later show he could do that with the Punisher. He had a low budget, but he kicked a lot of ass in that movie. And Dolph Lundgren kicked a lot of ass. Sadly, that was not the mentality in this. I would say he didn't have the budget, but was the budget for the Punisher that much grander? I don't know. Just like I said, the first half, well, again, there's some lines of dialogue. What was it, Joe Piscopo saying? I'm tired of being in sniper range of a donut shop, or... And once in a while, a line would get in there that would make me chuckle. Like a guy's reading a porno mag, and he's like, sorry to interrupt your erection, pal. I didn't mind that line. But it's okay. There's a shootout, and these bad guys won't go down. You have practical blood squibs. Again, you have this creature with this bizarre, like, two faces melded. Some, decent makeup effects. True Williams gets resurrected, although that set looks really cheap. The resurrection chamber. It looks really fucking cheap. It looks like something, I don't know, left over from Buck Rogers or some shit. It's just like a room with something on top and like something with all these dials coming up. Looks like I don't know, looks like Superman's going to come over and get one of these crystals for his Fortress of Solitude. And it's a cheap looking set, I gotta admit that. But I'm okay, it's building up. He's resurrected. He's looking a little bit pale. Joe Piscopo makes fun of him because he'd have to put lipstick in because his lips are changing color. True Williams' old girlfriend works at the morgue, and I thought the actress did a decent enough job. There's this other lady who worked at the facility and could be a potential witness to help him out with the investigation. There's a bit of a shootout when the bad guys come in, and hey, you remember the good days when guns kill people? And they have to fight these two zombie guys. Nothing spectacular. But I'm like, okay, maybe it's building up to something. And then the scene people remember the most, understandably, because it's the best scene in the movie, is halfway through the film, treat Joe Piscopo and this lady, I forget her name, is it Lindsay Frost? Or is that the other girls? I'm bad with names. They get to this Chinese restaurant. And the guy they're talking to is T. Luke. He's the old man in Gremlins who had Gizmo. He was at the very beginning of Gremlins 2, but he was in, beginning and end of Gremlins 1. The old guy there, he's in this. And also you have Professor Toru Tanaka, Sub-Zero from The Running Man. He's in it. Now, it's hard for me to buy that Treat knocked out Toru Tanaka that quickly. Because I love Treat Man, but he's not Arnold or Stallone, but okay, it's a movie. For some fucking reason, this guy has a fucking resurrection chamber in the restaurant. Now, let me ask you a question. I mean, I know it's a B movie. You're not supposed to ask these questions, but let me ask you, why the fuck would he have one of these big resurrection chamber things up top for this section of a Chinese restaurant? Just, are these located everywhere? Are they located at the mall or at the police station? Are they located everywhere? It just, someone went, you know what? I'm working with Darren McGavin. I'm working with, you come find out Vincent Price. You got one of these chambers. I want one too. Where do I want it? You know what? It takes the somehow possibility that a cop or two will come to my restaurant. I'm going to put it up above. So that maybe the ducks that can't do anything and this shit will attack the bad guys. Who I deem are bad guys. Even though you're a bad guy as well. Or the good guys. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And it looked like they just took the footage from the other Resurrection Chamber. Well, you see up top. Because of low budget. But it's like, again, why would that chamber be in a Chinese restaurant? I don't think you can answer it. But you know what? On the flip side, it does give the best scene in the movie. So I let it go. I let it go. Even though it makes no fucking sense. I let it go. Because you get some fun practical effects. Dead animals coming alive. Ducks. Headless animals. A little like pig. Some lines like Joe Piscopo. Maybe we could drown in A1 sauce. From the meat lockers, this big headless creature with its innards showing, attacking our lead characters. The slab of meat slopping onto Tree Williams' face and him trying to get it off. That at least showed creativity with some fun old school practical effects. And I wish the movie did more of that. I really do. Take the cliches of the cop genre and go into a restaurant or a Chinese restaurant or whatever and play them on their head. Sadly, it doesn't really do a whole lot of that. This scene, if you had more scenes like this, I think it would be much more known in the B movie world. Sadly, this is when I do like the film because I like Tree Williams a lot. He's very good. He's likable. He has that charm that you see in a leading man material. He had the goods. He had the talent. I wish he got to do a lot more leading man roles. That's one of the great aspects of the Substitute sequels, to see that. He finally got his own franchise, so to speak. Even though he wasn't in the first one. And like Deep Rising. But I just think Deep Rising really, whether because of the budget or whatever, was able to fulfill its promise. Here, while I do like Tree, I like Joe Piscopo, I like some of the makeup effects. You got some good, you get blood squibs and a little bit of gore. Like I said, the premise is a fun cop movie mixed in with a zombie movie. and I get into heavy spoilers. Even when I first saw this back in the day on VHS, I went, and the second half of this film I don't think is that good. And it hurts the film quite a bit. What I mean by that is, number one, there's not a lot of action. When you think of action films of this time, even, again, I Come in Peace, what they're able to get away with action-wise is amazing. PM Entertainment films a few years later, even canon films, American Ninja 1 and 2, Revenge of the Ninja, missing action films, the other cop movies, this really doesn't have a lot of action. Especially a lot of noteworthy action. And Mark Goldblatt would showcase that in the next movie he did, The Punisher. They came out in '89. I imagine if this had the team behind Maniac Cop, especially 2, I imagine Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo is in one car, and Treat Williams getting shot at, but he still keeps shooting, and then the other car is on fire, and people are shooting, and like Maniac Cop 3, like you said, the scene, despite the issues of Maniac Cop 3, I do like that film for Robert Davi, and stunts like, there's people driving and shooting while they're all fucking on fire. And these films did not cost $10 million to make. I've seen films of this ilk do better on that front, stunt-wise and action-wise. And that's why they think this is lacking in that. And the story, I didn't care for how the story went. I mean, why did you have the story? The first half seemed this fun, energetic. The first half seemed fun, and the second half just got really dark. Unneeded, in my opinion. Because, number one, this girl that was with them, who you find out is the daughter of Vincent Price's character, that apparently she was brought back to life, and I guess had a time limit of her own, and she disintegrates. I'm like, okay, if you want to do that, that's a nice surprise. But this is just right after we've learned that Joe Piscopo has been murdered. And not just murdered, but very disturbing image of him upside down, tied up, and him drowning in a fish tank. Just they see his face dead and bloated in the fish tank. He was tied up and upside down. He couldn't move, so he drowned in there. So we just had, the death of the partner. I'm like, okay, well, shit. That sucks. Because I thought Treat and Joe Piscopo had decent chemistry with each other. And then, 10 seconds later, now this girl fell apart. With some decent practical effects. Oh, goddamn, already of this 3, 2 of them are already dead now. Then he finds some info. Darren McGavin's part of it. And then he's put into an ambulance. Oh, and now his former girlfriend, the morgue lady, she's dead as well. I'm like, goddamn, everybody's fucking dying. Like, the partner's now dead. The girl's dead. The other girl's dead. He's ready to die. What the fuck's going on? I'm like, the fun factor kind of just went. Imagine I Come in Peace. Imagine halfway through, Brian Benman's character gets killed, and then the girl that Dolph Lundgren liked, that she's dead, and then Dolph Lundgren fights Matthias Hughes and defeats him, but then he's heavily wounded. He walks away. He's bleeding out, but he did win. And then they saw "Touch Me Tonight." Even the neighbor's rooster didn't like that. See, they didn't say a fucking word. And then when I noticed, what if I come? Then they fucking revolted. No, that's what he fucking said. No. Okay. Hey, I love I Come in Peace the way it is. That's why to me, that's up here in Dead Heat. I like the film, but it's down here. It's not one of my favorites. I put Split Second above it. I put I Come in Peace above it. I put The Hidden above it. Like The Hidden feels more consistent in that tone. Does that you just say has a bit of a, you know, I don't want to say darker, but that just felt more consistent what it was doing, I guess. So again, his former girlfriend is now dead as well. So that's three for three. Joe, the one girl, and the other girl. And Tree Williams is locked in his ambulance. But even throughout this, there's some fun moments. He gets the ambulance to roll down and ready to crash, and Tree Williams' glee, yeah, was infectious because I miss Tree Williams, and I do think he was an underrated actor. And at least he's helping. He's carrying the film on his shoulders. He really is. And after the crash, I do like the makeup he has. He looks like a. Actually, he looks a bit like Clayton Rohner in the zombie makeup, but it's like a punk rock look almost. And I like that this piece of flesh hanging looks like an earring, which I think was the intention. So yeah, it looks like he's a rocker, like for an '80s band or something now. But I like the makeup in it. I like the design. I like the way it looks. And then he goes in and he kills a few bad guys. And True Williams is trying. He's got the Uzi. Don't get up. Told you not to get up. There's a bit that he slams into something, slides, and shoots two people. So you have little moments here and there, but nothing that grand or glorious or crazy in terms of action, which I think Mark Goldblatt would show in The Punisher. Other films would show. Again, the finales of, again, I Come in Peace and other stuff. And to be fair, like Split Second doesn't have a lot of action either, but that I thought its tone felt a bit more consistent, and the world it built, the store, the musical store, like certain aspects in that just worked better for me at least. And the ending is more satisfying. And then so you have your partner. It's like a buddy cop film, but the buddy is dead for like the next 20 some minutes, and then oh, he's a zombie now, and Treat says like three words, and Joe Piscopo acted like a zombie. Also felt goofy. It looked goofy. Kill this guy, will you? Kill this guy, will you? Roger. And it didn't feel like much of a finale, like much issue to get into this. You think, oh man, they must be filled with these bad guys who are also partial zombies or fully zombies. It'd be really difficult and tough. Not really. There's one bit where Treat and this guy keep shooting at each other, and then he hits the guy, and the guy gets electrocuted. But it actually was fairly easy for him to get there. Like it wasn't a huge obstacle. And Darren McGavin, he gets his comeuppance in a very glorious way. Nice effects on the guy gets exploded. But Vincent Price, I don't know, he gets away, or we're supposed to assume he died in this explosion, because pretty much just the two shoot up the device. I guess we're supposed to assume Vincent Price's character blew up with the whole thing. And then they walk off to their death. There's smoke and there's a light, so I guess to make it seem as if they're going to the afterlife, at least. This is the end of a beautiful friendship. I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, I don't know, just something about it just rubbed me the wrong way. I went, what? Like, this is what we're doing? I think that first initial reaction when I was... And I'm trying to think when I first saw this. Probably in my 20s. early 20s, late teens, early 20s on VHS, and this second half just rubbed me the wrong way. The killing off of these characters and being like more depressing, and then the action I don't think was fully engaged like other films of that time period, even with this lower budget. And the creativity was kind of peaked in the middle with the Chinese restaurant bit, and the creativity didn't really sustain itself, Sally, throughout it. And the ending was kind of, again, it wasn't an overloaded action piece ending. It wasn't a totally satisfying ending. And it just, that's why I never loved the film. I like the film for what it is. It's a little above a time waster. Treat Williams is great, but there's a lot of missed potential, I would say, with this film. A lot of missed potential. You know, the idea of zombie cops, or at least one's a normal cop, one's a zombie cop, and what he can do. Now he can't die. Like, you have this series of action scenes that he can't die. He only has a limited amount of time, but he needs to shut up as much as possible and keep going. Like, maybe they have an argument where Tree Williams going to use himself as a like Joe Pistol's like, hey, can I stay behind you? What? Hey, you can't die. I can. And like Tree Williams is walking, and Joe Pistol's behind shooting, and the more he gets shot, the more he's getting pissed at Joe Piscopo. You owe me for this. Like, maybe something like that. I don't know. I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. And that's why I wish there was more. I wish the story did not delve into what it did in the second half. I wish there was more creativity in the second half and the third act. I wish it was more satisfying. I like it. Even the song, like, I don't give a shit about the song. Dead Heat. What the fuck. Sorry about that edit there. I had to get more power into the camcorder. Dude, I'm looking, oh shit, it's ready to run out. But now I have it plugged in. Anyway, enough of that. My final thoughts on Dead Heat. Tree Williams, Joe Piscopo, the makeup effects, the premise, the Chinese restaurant scene. I do like those scenes. They make it at least a decent time waster. But I would never put this, in a top 10 or so buddy cop films. I just think the premise could have gone a lot further. There's a lot more creativity that could have been shown. I don't care for how it got, like, to be inconsistently dark in the second half. I don't think that fit, in my opinion, with the way the first half was. And overall, lack of action in the second half. The third act wasn't that satisfying on an action front or on a story front. So again, I liked it, but I don't love it. With that said, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.